Hey everyone, Mango7Roll here. How we doing today? Welcome to something I don't usually do, and I'm really excited to do this. We're going to take a look at the Legendary Heroes banners coming up on the 1st, I think 3 days from now, and we're going to see whether or not you should pull as an average person from a bunch of different perspectives. For some reason, I've never really done one of these, but I get asked 24/7, like 24/7, not only whether somebody else should pull, but also whether I should pull and whether I'm going to pull. And I know people just want to know if I'm pulling because they want to see the video, but we might as well go through this one unit at a time. I'm going to look at them from a ton of different perspectives. I'm going to look at them from how they work out of the box, whether or not they work without a ton of skill inheritance. We're going to look at them for what value their skill inheritance is in terms of what they can give to other units. We're going to look at how they merge well, like whether or not you want 10 of them, you want one of them. We're going to look at, what else are we going to look at? How they work just as a one of, and how they'll bolster your team. Overall, obviously, if you love a unit, if you love Halloween Henry, for example, and you want to merge the hell out of them, this is a fantastic chance, and this is basically your only option. But we're going to try to go into people who are on the fence about things and try to push them over or onto the other side, one of the two. So since I haven't done this before, I want to also talk about legendary banners really quick. Previously, before the rarity change, where we had a lot of people demoted that are no longer pity breakers, I think that legendary banners were the best thing in the game by quite a bit margin. So if you're ever going to spend your orbs, I feel like legendary banners were where to spend it, unless you definitely didn't need anybody at all or needed a small amount of people. But if you needed a vast amount of people, there really was no comparison for legendary banners because it cut out those Ravens, it cut out those Merrics, it cut out those Ogmas, it cut out all the crap. But now, that fat has been cut already for us, so they definitely lost a lot of value with that last patch we got. So keep that in mind. I do not think legendaries are as insane as they were before, but they are still fantastic. So let's get into Lyn here. Did you see that they added this to Gamepedia here? Other heroes named Lyn. I don't know if this is just on Lyn's page. This is the first time I've ever noticed this, but I think that is freaking hilarious that they had to add that for Lyn. That is so funny. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Lyn herself as a unit. One thing I need to mention too is that Lyn is a legendary hero. You guys all know that, but we don't know what that means for the future of Fire Emblem, and it is very safe to have at least one legendary unit. A lot of people don't care about Vyke, so they fodder him off. They don't care about Fjorm, so they fodder him off. But you never know what kind of modes will come out in the future that kind of require you, in quotes, to have those legendary heroes. So I definitely think it's safe keeping, or at least obtaining, one of each legendary unit because of that, because we don't know the future. And the way they're pushing legendary heroes, I feel like they're going to be and continue to be a big part of the gameplay. So Lyn herself is an amazing unit. I think her base kit is one of the best base kits we've had in a long time. She comes with Lawless Decay, which you probably are not going to want to change. Same with her bow, unless you're doing some really weird things or really brave things, I should say. You're probably not going to want to change what she comes with. She also comes with Desperation too, which is great. But most importantly, from her skills here, she comes with Speed Tactic 3. I don't think we've had Speed Tactic from anybody before, and we definitely haven't. And it's one of the best C skills in the game at this point, unless you're on an Emblem team. There really isn't much better. You always want a Speed Tactic on your team, assuming you're in a tactic-based team. So this does make her basically one of the best fodders in the game at this point, just because of that mode. She's the only unit in the game to have that. So definitely, if you want Speed Tactic, you'll want to pull for her. But at the same time, be careful, because unless you're a whale with a bunch of +10s, I think it's very risky pulling on a legendary banner for a Speed Tactic, for example. So that is Lyn there. We also have Inigo. Inigo, I'm not the biggest fan of. He is my least used dancer, but I do still use him because he is a dancer. He can be your 7th dancer, no problem for AAA. He's also actually pretty solid. I'm just not a fan of him. But one thing with Inigo is if you don't have him, you probably want him. But if you have him, you probably don't want anymore. So this is one of those ones that people are not going to be the biggest fan of getting the second one. He doesn't have any fodder whatsoever. His base kit works out pretty well, but you need to change a lot of it. You'll need to change his weapon. You'll need to change his A skill, probably his B skill as well. Just overall with him, you either have one already and don't want another one, or you don't have one and you definitely want one. So it's up to you for this one. Again, you could want to merge him to 10, but that's not really helping too much. He doesn't score much in Arena, so unless you love Inigo, definitely go for 1 or 0. And the problem with that, again, like I said, is if you don't want one of him, then he's just going to be a blank when you pull him as a legendary unit. Next up, we have Henry here, and Henry is a fantastic unit. He's so good. His base stats are great. His BST is fantastic for a tome because he's armored, but unfortunately his base kit sucks. He comes with Spectral Tome, which is going to need to be fixed. If you want to seriously use him, you'll need to change that. You'll need to change his special. You'll need to change his A, B, and his movement skill. Luckily, his Armor March is the only thing he's got going for him for his base kit, and it is a fantastic skill inheritance fodder as well. So really good unit, and also he's one where if you do invest in him, like if you have given him the love he needs to really do well, you want as many merges as you can on him because he's such a great unit, and the more merges you get, the higher your score, the more likely you can put him on your main arena team. So overall, this is definitely a good unit to get multiples of, especially if you like him. So green there is a toss-up for me. It's really difficult. One thing we actually should look at is not who is on the current green, but who isn't on the green list right now. Where's the best way to do this? I guess the tier list. We have Henry and Inigo there now, but the problem is, look at the future. Look what we have for the future. We have Hector, we have Winter Lissa, who should be coming soon. We have Azura's coming soon. We have Myrrh, who should be on a summon like this pretty soon. We have Robin Fell Incarnation, and we do have Celica this banner, so we know this guy can come soon as well. There are so many insane green units that can possibly be on the next coming banners that it's really risky. We also have Winter Crom. There's just so many that aren't on, and this is what's holding me back from this color. Green is pretty good this time around. If you want at least an Inigo, if you're okay with Henry merges, then I think it's fantastic to pull. But otherwise, I would definitely wait. The problem is with this is it's a gamble. One, I really want Lynn. So if I want her, I won't have her for at least a month. For 2, I'm pretty sure next month is Gunther. Correct me if I'm wrong. So we will not get Lynn next month. We'll have to wait 2 months for another Lynn at this point. So that's a toss-up if you're looking for that. But we have to imagine the next green focus that she's in is going to be better than this one. So again, very dangerous color to go in, but I think it's really rewarding if you need that style of unit. Red here, and red is good, really solid, but I think you really need to know what you're wanting if you want to pull red on this banner. Again, we have Vyke as an option, and I think Vyke is fantastic because he does come with Warding Breath and Defense Tactic to a degree if you really are wanting that. He's a great merge option. I think most people should want a +10 Vyke in the future, eventually, maybe, possibly, just from accidental legendary pulls, just because 1, he's such a damn good unit, and 2, we all love Vyke. And 3, of course, the legendary thing. But not exciting, if that makes sense. Like, not something you want to go in there and pull for. So I always kind of am happy if I ever pull a Vyke, which I haven't yet, by the way. But at the same time, I'm not ever going to go in and pull for Vyke. So next up, we have Celica here, and Celica is one of those ones that would have been super happy to pull for, assuming I didn't have her before the pity break change. But after the pity break change, wouldn't be my #1 goal. You know, like, she's a great unit, but she's not going to change your account. So unless you really love her, I would not use her as a reason to pull red. But obviously, if you are a whale or somebody who pulls for skill inheritance, Chill Speed, she's the only place you're going to get that. And it's pretty hard to beat Chill Speed as a B skill. I think it's such a great skill. And again, she does merge really well too. She has super bulk on both sides. She's 27, 26 as default mids there, and will be a great merge option, but I do think she's somebody that can just break your pity rate down the road without being too worried about it. And then Erica here on a horse, I think kind of fills the same role, or the same exact same sentence I'm going to say with Celica, where 1, she comes with insane fodder in Swift Sparrow. It's pretty hard to beat Swift Sparrow fodder. Everybody who gives it is bonkers in their own right, either really rare to get, like Lucina or Ira or Lynn. or just a 5-star exclusive. I guess they're all 5-star exclusives and hard to get. But it is fantastic fodder, and a lot of people want that on all of their A skills. But one thing, if you are a new player and you see somebody is best with Swift Sparrow, keep in mind something like Life and Death or something like Fury 3 is generally an okay alternative to Swift Sparrow. As an actual unit, she works really well out of the box, as does Celica. But again, unless you love Erica, I would not go aiming for her, or you're missing that red horse or something like that. She does merge well again, but again, she is in red, and I think it's a pretty good chance she breaks your pity rate somewhere down the line. So red is one of those colors that you really need to know what you're doing if you want to go in there and pull. You either really want either of these two here, or you're really into fodder. Obviously, if you have a Kana or a Dragon or something you really want to give Warding Breath, then definitely go for it there. But be wary going into red. You're not going to get too much out of it, I think. And the skill inheritance will be very expensive. So we have blue here. An exact same spiel with Ephraim, but the thing with Ephraim is I don't think he works as well as the other legendary heroes with their main kit. So he's the least exciting legendary hero for me. And he also does not come with any fodder whatsoever, which I actually like. I mean, I guess he's got sturdy stance, but not many people are going to want to inherit that. And there's a ton of alternatives to it. We then have Micaiah with her cute little bird. I do think Micaiah is one of those ones, if you don't have and you do love the unit, you should definitely maybe try to pull for her, and this is a good option if you also need Shigure as a singer. She comes with Drive Attack 2 fodder, which is also in, isn't this Taltiu? Oh, it's not Taltiu. I thought this was Taltiu. Taltiu's got the other drive. So the Drive Attack 2 fodder is actually pretty valuable as well. Same with Guard and Distant Defense. She's got a ton of good options for skill inheritance, but you definitely should not pull for her for that. If you want to pull for Micaiah, she is a cavalry and a armored foe killer here, and she is insane at that. You'll probably want to switch her skill set up a lot too. A lot of people use Deathflow instead. So definitely worth pulling for Micaiah if you don't have her and you want her. We also have Shigure here, and this is the exact same thing I'm going to say about Shigure with Inigo. If you're wondering about him, just go re-listen to Inigo. It's the exact same thing for me. Unless you really like him, you only need one of them, but having one of them is amazing. So blue is something else. He's also no fodder, right? Sorry, I don't remember his fodder. Yes, no fodder whatsoever. He's got the Blue Tome Valor, but he's the only one who's going to really want that anyway. So blue is one of those toss-ups again, unfortunately. Ephraim is great. I would rather have Fiora merges than Ephraim, but I'm maybe alone in that. But Micaiah is definitely worth pulling for. So blue, I would say, if you need a Shigure, I would definitely pull until you get one of those, and you really like Shigure, of course, because any incidental Micaiahs or Ephraims are always going to be solid. And finally, we have Colorless here. I'm noticing this is getting way too long, so I'm trying to kind of not go as in-depth as I would like. But Colorless is fantastic this time around. I think this is the best we're possibly going to get for it. We have our Robin here, who is bonkers. I think she is insane. One of the best units in the game right now, especially for Grand Conquest. I feel like they're really going to try to push Grand Conquest, and this Robin is so bonkers for it. A lot of people change her expiration to Dark Breath, which I actually like better for Grand Conquest. But overall, she works pretty close outside the box. Her Res Smoke is really sweet fodder too if you're in need of that. Definitely always be happy with Robins, assuming you like the character as always. I shouldn't have to say that. You guys should know. If I tell you to pull for Robin and you don't like her, you probably shouldn't pull for her. So keep that in mind. We have Jenny here, who's this cute, fluffy little sheep. She comes with the most important skill inheritance fodder for healers, Wrathful Staff 3. Pretty hard to argue with this until we get another version of Wrathful Staff somewhere. You always should be pretty stoked about Jenny fodder, or in my case, I would be merging her because she is so darn cute. If you do not have a single Jenny, she single-handedly dismantles most GHBs at this point, just because a combination of her gravity plus with Dazzling mixed on it and her Wrathful Staff. So I found I've been able to go like Olivia, Jenny on my ult and basically beat everything just because Wrathful Staff and Savage Blow. So fantastic unit again here, and definitely want to pull for Jenny if you do not have at least one. And finally here we have Jacob, the Devoted Monster, and this guy is the highlight of Colorless, I think, at this point. He is probably the best archer in the game, but he takes a lot in skill inheritance. He's going to need Bold Fighter, but if you give him Bold Fighter, he is literally the best archer in the game. He is so insane. He scores really highly because he's an armored. He merges really well because he's so defensive. This is definitely one of those units I am always happy tossing merges on. I personally have him at +1, and I literally never use him because I haven't given him the right set. But I feel like if I pull for Robin on this banner and get a couple Jacobs along the way, I'll definitely devote my time to him, like he's devoting making tea to me. So definitely think Jacob is a star of this banner, and if you are liking Jacob, you either don't have him or want merges, this is the time to do it, because you also get the Robin, you also get the Jenny at the same time here. How long that took? A long time, I think. Hopefully I didn't rush too much at the end for you guys, but it's either that or you sit through 40 minutes of me talking, which maybe you want to do, maybe you don't, who knows. So let's just do a brief overview of each of the colors. Red, unless you love Celica or Erica, I don't think you should be pulling on this color at this time. Both of those are viable options. They're really good in their own right, and they're insane fodder at the same time. But I think pulling for fodder is too expensive unless you're a whale and you know what you're doing. Like, I feel like if you're watching a video like this for advice, you should not be pulling for fodder because your account is probably not ready for that. That might be presumptuous to say, and I'm sorry if I offend people by saying that, but in general, fodder is too expensive to pull for IMO. We have blue here, where if you need Shigure, definitely pull, I would say. He's fantastic with a unit, and if you get Micaiah or Ephraim as an accidental thing, definitely worth it. If you only need Micaiah and you don't need Shigure and don't really want Ephraim, I would skip out on it. It sucks not to get her, but she will break your pity rate eventually, hopefully. Anyway, so that is blue. Green is a really tough one. If you want Lyn a lot like I do and you do not have Inigo, I would at least pull this banner on green until you get Lyn and then stop. Or if you really want Inigo and are really wanting Lyn as well, pull until you get Inigo and then maybe wait till next 2 months for the next Lyn. Really tough to do there, but you got to be careful because you might end up putting a lot of orbs in and not getting much in return. Colorless is insane. Like I said, I think most people should be summoning on this. Robin, unless you have something against her, she merges so well, and in the long run, she's going to be a great +10 option. Same with Jacob, one of the best +10 options in the game for merges. And Jenny is either a really good merge option or fantastic fodder. So overall, Colorless is by far the best on this banner. And that should be your focus if you have at least one other or two other color you're going for. So again, keep in mind, you kind of want to have at least 2 colors to go in on here. You want to go in on at least colorless and green or blue and green or something like that. You do not want to go into a banner if you're really only sniping one color, unless that color is the best color you've ever seen in your life. So keep that in mind. Anyway, that was a lot of rambling, a lot of mismanaged thoughts is probably a good word. Hopefully you enjoyed this though. Hopefully you got something out of it, and I think I talked myself out of green, which is exciting for me because that saves me orbs. So anyway, have a wonderful day. See y'all later. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe as always, and have a great day. Bye now.